on y'all boyfriend and y'all get pregnant, why do y'all tell on yourselves? Just let your boyfriend be the baby daddy.
I'm going to assume this is a troll, right? But I'm kind of serious what I'm about to say. Get a DNA test in front of that woman. We need to start having the conversation of how would you feel if you knew I got a DNA test on our baby, and see how that conversation goes.
What's up, y'all? I am Mona. Let's get into this post that I saw. This is actually a screenshot from what a woman voluntarily shared over on Facebook. Here it says, "No way. Woman reveals her baby daddy snuck a DNA test on their child and the kid isn't his." It says here, "Why this boy done snuck a DNA test and my baby not his? I'm dead." First of all, why are you laughing about being a whore?
Oh my God.
All right, y'all, we can't make this up. So here, this is the woman responding, I guess, to people after she put this out here for the world to know. So here she says, "Hell, I'm just as shocked as you." Why would you be shocked? You the one that was sleeping around opening up your legs. Yes, it was going to be Russian roulette with the baby daddy. Ma'am, you didn't use protection, and neither did you make that a priority, the standard and the expectation before you and the man got down. Like, look, you got to wear a condom before we get intimate. So you were fine with getting your club shot up.
Help me understand.
So here she says, "I'm going to go back to sleep, though. I'll deal with all that later." Here she says, trying to figure out the daddy right along with y'all. "I don't recall nobody else." And then somebody, of course, you see a woman say, "Redo the test." Ma'am, have a seat.
Go ahead, man. What else you want me to know?
Just as you can see her character, you know what, since she wanted to talk about me.
Gorgeous, honey.
Portia's nothing but a lady of the night, stripper, prostitute.
I'll say over here in the comments because I know somebody's going to support this foolishness. So here someone says, "Good on him, shame on you. And what is so funny?" Exactly. What's so funny about playing with the lives of men, as well as, most importantly, the life of the child? Right? Why would you play about who this child is connected with because you have poor cat management? You voluntarily chose to sleep with more than one man, and now you playing Russian roulette. Where's Waldo? Guess the baby daddy. Pin the tail on the daddy. Okay? Here someone says, "I don't recall nobody else." Somebody said, she said, "I don't recall nobody else." Y'all really be 304s out here, cause what? How you don't recall? Here someone says, "This is why DNA tests should be free and offered at birth." 100%. I have talked about that ad nauseum here on this channel. Mandatory DNA tests should definitely be in effect to alleviate and prevent a lot of these situations. So questions that I had regarding this entire debacle was, for one, did she actually pick this man? Because I'm assuming that the man in this picture on this first page here, I'm going to assume that this man in this picture who attended the baby shower, met the family and all of that, and was probably, maybe this was the man that she was dealing with the most, but she was still, again, getting folded up by multiple other men, or at least one other man. We'll just say that. But why would you just settle on this man being the father? Was he like the man that you thought would be the most stable, that he was the most involved? Because obviously maybe the other men weren't as interested in you. No, she was dishonest, right? And it was not just being dishonest in the moment of just finding out. It was throughout the entire time you were dealing with this man. I'm assuming she was in a relationship and you knew this entire time that you had been dealing with other men. We don't even know if this woman was pregnant before she even got with this man. And she probably put it on this man because, again, he showed interest in her, or maybe she really liked him. And so she thought she was just going to go with the flow. Like, did she bank on this man not using any type of sense and being, proactive about paternity? Did she just assume that he was just going to go with it? Yourselves, like, to be allowing men to shoot your club up, multiple men at that, with no protection, that is disgusting. And it just breeds a plethora of issues beyond just a pregnancy, right? because you could have got, or you could have contracted something that you might not have been able to get rid of. There's too many other things at play besides just a baby. And again, we talk about babies, but babies are for husbands and wives. They should not be for random men and women, situationships, or you just pinning it on anybody because you were in a situationship, transitioned to a relationship, and because you were dealing with multiple men at one time, you just did the pick the man who was the best fit, and that was going to be the daddy. And also, if a woman is getting offended by a DNA test, then she is probably hiding something else, because any woman that either, first and foremost, that she cares about the child's future and well-being. And then also, if you're in a relationship, just as importantly, if you care about the man that you're with, then you're going to want to make sure that he has the right to know that this is his child, period. And men, I'm going to say this as well. You need to take your time and do your research too, because you cannot turn a promiscuous woman or 304 into a woman that is not just a wife, but an honest woman. You cannot undo and fix a woman's brokenness and her patterns of being a dishonest and a person of, poor character. And then also, women, most importantly, stop lying to men, because you're really lying to yourself. You're doing a disservice to yourself. You're doing a disservice to the child and obviously to the man. And he did not sneak a test on her. He did this because he wanted to have a peace of mind and validation for what he already suspected. And that's why I said, look, if you suspect a woman is very promiscuous, or she's into certain things, or you knew that the relationship was not on the up and up to begin with, I don't think there was anything wrong with getting that paternity test. And I will always advocate, and I still believe that paternity tests should be mandatory at birth, so that way everybody knows what's up and nobody is wasting their time getting their emotions involved, as well as, investing into a child that really belongs to another man. Let me know what y'all think about this. The audacity of her to say that he done snuck a DNA test, and then also the result was that the child was not his. Of course, I've seen a couple women over here supporting her in this foolishness, but ladies, stop having poor cat management, being irresponsible and reckless, and playing with your life, playing with the life of a child, as well as not being a solid woman of integrity. There's nothing about that is cool to lie to a man about a child. All right, but let me know what y'all think about this down in the comment section, y'all. Like this video, share, as well as subscribe to the channel. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace, y'all.
I think it's a mental thing, a mental illness.
Okay.
Here's why DNA tests should be mandatory after you give birth. I work at a healthcare facility, and I had a mom bring in her paperwork for her child's birth certificate, right? I go through it and I let her know that she left the father's name blank, and just to avoid any surprises, I let her know when she gets the birth certificate, obviously the father's section is going to be blank. It's only going to be her name on the birth certificate. She then is like, oh, well, can I still get child support? I let her, I told her no, because there's no name there and whatnot, and and I let her know what she would need to do after the fact. She then tells me to give her a minute. She sits down and calls her group of friends, and they go through a list of like 4 or 5 different men on some pros and cons type shit to figure out who of these men would be the best option to be the father. I guess they couldn't come to a decision or whatever. She comes back to me. She's like, oh, well, can you just put my birth certificate to the side and I'll do it once I decide. Ma'am, this isn't layaway. What?